we can go through life much easier and we don't take anything personal. We understand their perspective, we can move on and say that's their life. But what we need to do, of course, is make sure we're still impeccable with our word. Today we're talking about being not being personal, not taking anything personal, and then making sure how we can get through that. And if we fail, how we can go backwards. My name's Nick Tabor. I'm a personal trainer, and I talk about this stuff on this channel because I've lived through it personally. All right, so if you're just joining us, we are in the mix of talking about the Four Agreements and other books. Specifically because of all the issues going on in the world, I was asked specifically to talk about this book, this process, and how we can go through it, which I'm more than happy to oblige. Hoping my clients will do well as we're navigating through this, as the rest of the world is navigating through all this issue, as we are. All right, so we're at step 2, agreement number 2 for that matter. Don't take anything personally. Okay, now, have you ever had that moment where somebody says something to you and you just you want to rip their head off? But they don't necessarily say it to you, but it's their personality, or something happens, or you're in a grocery store, and even specifically like times right now, you're in the grocery store and somebody is like, oh my God, I can't believe this. Oh, this is unreal. You don't believe this, blah, 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 blah. This isn't here, that isn't here, all that junk, And you have all these people just really just deflecting the negative energy, and they're pushing that energy out into the world in an attempt to bring you down. But if you don't take anything personally, it's just gonna bounce right off you. And you're just gonna keep going on your way and kind of feel sorry for those people. And, there's another book that, is really great, is Your One Word. And that one has a personal effect to me because I have the word climb on my wrist, which is my one word, which is a gathering of all your core values and putting it into one word itself. Pretty self-explanatory. And this really, really hits home there because for me, climb, it comes with a credo. Now, climb also means, and for me personally, is to challenge others to do great things, challenge myself to do hard things, and celebrate it when accomplishments are done. So, the climb, challenge, okay? Challenge myself to do hard things. It is super easy to fall into crowd mentality. A few weeks before recording this, or maybe even a month or two by now, I don't know, time is so bizarre, people were hoarding toilet paper. I don't know if they're still doing this because, I got enough for me and my wife in our house. And we go, all right, we're fine. We're just move on and just be done with it. My family had enough, and they're like, whatever. And we put it out of our minds. But if you see YouTube, or if you just look at things on Facebook or social media, it seems like it's a horrible thing. And you see people who are just so ramped up. Oh, this person said this, or they have video of, anytime there's an issue now, somebody's got their cell phone out, and I just have a case here, but they're filming everything, as they're doing it, oh yeah, and then it ends up on the news, and people are like, oh my gosh, people are crazy, you won't believe this. And it takes, I think pre-internet world, it was if you see something good, you tell 3 to 4 people, and if you see something bad, you tell 10 at minimum. Now that itself is because people are hardwired to tell people things that are bad more. And think about when civilization first began, we're all very tribal. People are wanting to tell people the bad things in order to protect their tribe. So if you're hunting and you're out there and suddenly you see a predator, that, will take you out. You're going to tell your entire tribe, or you're going to tell more tribes, because we want to be able to protect the human race. And when it's a real danger zone, we're not going to tell just our tribe. We're going to tell more, because at that point, it's just humanity at that point. Now, we have the tendency to tell very few people, because when something's good and, the resources are fine, we tend to tell just their tribe, because, like, hey, we can get fed, we can do things. So then it trickles down after many centuries of why we're here. And I think day and age of the internet, we are not gonna. It's not gonna get any better, but we could do this for ourselves. Now, my wife said something to me at one point, like, we just got to make sure our corner of the earth is okay. The hell with everybody else. And when you have that issue and somebody's saying something to you, like, I have a client who's having difficulties at work with a fellow coworker, and this person, will send me messages. What do I do? How do I get around this? What's going on? And it's just like, that is their world. If they're being rough to you, or they're feeling bad, or or whatever, or they're saying something to try to screw you up, it's not you. I had a bully when I was in school. I'm not going to say his name, because I know his wife watches my videos. And he just tormented me. He was one of the people who beat me up in a bathroom in one of the most painful moments of my life. And it wasn't good. It wasn't good, but I learned years later that he had a dad who ran out on him, and his dad was a Gulf War veteran who had a messed up right arm because of shrapnel issues, and every time he saw me, he saw his dad who left. And years later, I look at it on more of an adult eye. I'm like, oh, I really have got to forgive this person, because if you are walking around with hatred for somebody for so many years, it poisons you, and you have wasted so much time with anger over something of the past, albeit like a bad relationship, a previous job. It's something that you can't take personal, because from their perspective, they made those actions at that point when they were not the same person. They were not the right person at that time in your life. So, not taking anything personal. A couple steps. I basically went over all of it here. Number one, forgive your past. Things that happened in the past for a reason. You're not the same person of who you are, and those people are not the same person who they are. We change almost every day. Events change us, and we move beyond everything. If you're just furloughed from your job, you might have that animosity, but this is a part to drop. You want to drop that animosity, because if you're laid off, you just lost your job, or you have to move and find another career, you might have anger for it. But those people who did lay you off, unfortunately, had the worst decision in the world that they had to make at that given moment. And they need to have your empathy, because you might be able to go back, which would be great, but they didn't singly just go to you and say, I hate this person, let me get rid of that. That's illegal. You can't do any of that. That's illegal. That's not possible. So you say to yourself, I'm done. Let's go ahead and just get done with it, right? Number two, what we gotta do is not take anything personally again. Understand the perspective and bring that person, that thing. And the reason why I look at the bully situation is when you're 10, 11 years old and you're dealing with a high schooler, well, not high school at that point, but you're dealing with a childhood bully at that time, there's a horror show going on in their head. And the bully themselves are just like really angry, but they cannot express them, because they're 10 and 11 years old. They cannot express the anger that they may feel in that world. So what they do is they lash out. They don't know why they're lashing out. And I include myself in this. I was very, very, very angry for a number of years. And not that I hit anybody or anything, but it led to addiction issues. It led to problems. But because I didn't get the perspective. I was a drinker. I had other things, and I've definitely gotten around it. But it's the personal side of it is when you start to see their perspective and say, you know what, it leads into forgiving as well. You go, all right, I'm not going to take this one personal because you know what, they were just awful at that time and they must have been going through hard things and everything that is built up in your life, it's just them. You know, if you have a coworker who's had difficult times and they're like, what do I do? Oh my God, these people, they may be having a hard time at work right now too. But you're leading your life, and at the end of the day, you go to bed in your own bed, not theirs. You've got to get the perspective and just say, you know what, they may just be having a bad day that day. And if they're like, in the grocery store, oh, unreal, nobody's got toilet paper. Well, that's kind of crappy. No pun intended there. But, you just look at it and say, I'm done. Number 3, go backwards if you have to. Be honest with yourself. Be impeccable with your word, okay? Being impeccable with your word, being honest, truthful, and, flawless with your own perspective to be able to say, I'm done. I'm not going to be angry with anyone, but I'm just going to look back because there's a point where you're going to take something personal. Why did they do this to me? Why did they do this? Why am I here? Back it up. Okay, personal. Let's look at it. Why am I taking this personal? Like furlough. I got really angry at the company when I was furloughed. I'm like, you know what? They had to make a really tough decision, and this COVID thing is nobody's fault. Honesty with myself and say, okay, go on my logical side of my brain and say, I'm good. All right, I'll figure this out. You know what happens then is you start making a plan to move forward. And see how it's all connected? All right. Check out Impeccable with Your Word. There's a video right here we can go ahead and take a look at. As always, we climb and we keep moving forward. I will see you in tomorrow's video where we talk about not making assumptions. All right, see you there.